Hi, everyone. I hope you can hear me okay. Looks like we have a few people on already. And we are recording this so that we can share it beyond today. I know that oftentimes during the day, it's difficult for people to be able to break away from their daily activities. So let me get some people promoted to panelist. Kathy, you're promoted now. Congratulations. And we can't hear you. I think you're on mute.
That's better.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And Terry, I promoted you as well. Hi, Terry. And let me get you off of mute as well.
I think I'm good.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thanks everyone for joining us to do just some brief introductions. I'm Debbie Rambus. I'm Tony's mom and the executive director of the Compassionate Friends. It was only a few years ago, back in 2011, that I attended my first conference. And I would have very much liked to have had a call like this to just impart some information so that you feel most comfortable with attending the conference. So that's our purpose today. And to help me explaining the conference, we have some old timers.
For sure.
I should say experienced. So we have Terry Novi, you'll see in the blue shirt, and Terry is our Director of Chapter Services. So Terry, say hello to everyone.
Hello, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us today. And I'm so glad we're doing this webinar because we've never done one before. And I know that Debbie will have helpful hints to take care of yourself throughout the weekend because it may get a little heavy for you sometimes.
Thanks, Terry. And then the other beautiful lady on the call is Kathy C. Hutter. And Kathy has gone to a number of conferences. She is a bereaved parent as well. So Kathy, would you like to say hello to everyone?
Hi, everybody. And I agree with Debbie about having some kind of thing like this before, way back when I came for the first time, which was in 1999 was my first national conference, and this will be my 19th. So if that tells you anything, I think that they're pretty special. And I'm really glad to see that so many of you are coming. We're really looking forward to being with you all in St. Louis. As Debbie said, I am also a bereaved mom. I lost my daughter Nina in 1995 to a car accident by a drunk driver. She was 15 years old. And my son Christopher 6 years ago when he took his own life. And I can tell you that TCF, everybody will tell you that has saved my life. And the conferences I look forward to every single year because that is my weekend with my children too. So glad you're on here, and Debbie will have lots of great things to say to you.
And we do have a few call-in listeners that aren't at a computer. So as we're going to introduce some things, some concepts, and then we'll also demonstrate for you the app that we have available for the conference that you can download already. So as we explain things, please bear with us as we try to describe what you're seeing so that our call-in listeners will get an idea. And then again, this is being recorded and it will be posted on our Compassionate Friends Facebook page as well as the website. So maybe you have some friends that are coming, you can pass along the information. So, you know, the first question I had, we went to our first conference only just a few months after Tony had drowned in our pool. And we walked in and we were just it almost took your breath away because I had felt like I was alone in the journey up until that point. We didn't have a local Compassionate Friends chapter. I'd never gone to a chapter meeting. So I didn't really know what this organization was all about. And I felt like nobody else really understood me. So when we walked into the hotel and we saw everyone there, I thought, oh my goodness, all of these people have lost a child, a grandchild, a brother or a sister. I just couldn't believe there were that many of us. So we really didn't know where to go. It's kind of, logical, but I'm going to cover it with you anyway. If you're staying at the hotel, go ahead and register at the hotel. Just check in as you normally would. You'll probably be arriving prior to the conference starting. And then after you're checked in and comfortable, start taking a look around. We've going to have a lot of signs in place. All of us are traveling this coming week to get there and make everything just perfect for you. So after you're settled in, you'll want to register. Even if you've already registered online, you want to check in. And you do that because we give you some goodies. When you check in, if you've signed up for the lunch or the dinner or the walk to remember or anything like that, you'll be provided the information at check-in. And then you'll go to another location very close by to pick up, you actually get a conference bag. So you don't have to worry about bringing a bag to carry all your goodies in. We give you a conference bag. If you've signed up for the Walk to Remember and you've registered ahead of time, you'll also get your walk shirt. And then there's lots of goodies in the bag. Every year we have a conference committee, and obviously something of this size, and we're expecting about 1,000 people there, something of this size requires a lot of help. And for those of you not familiar with the organization, we have a very low number of paid staff. And for good reason. We want any money that's donated going right back in to help others. So if you, once you check in, you're going to get a conference book. That's one of the things in your bag. And I pulled one from a prior conference, and it's kind of a 8.5 by 11 type bound book, and all kinds of good information in here. And as I said, there's an app as well. So you want to familiarize yourself with your conference book or your app. And as you do that, and I'm just going to give a high-level overview, and then we'll kind of dive into some things, it's going to give you an overall schedule. So what the overall schedule is, it tells you when registration is open. It tells you when the workshops are and where they're located. We have over 100 workshops for you to choose from. And when you registered, you may have selected, I want to go to this one and this one. You can go to any workshop you want. You don't have to stick to that. That really only gives us an idea of what to expect and the number of people interested in that particular topic, so we can put that workshop in an appropriately sized room. So feel free, don't panic. I don't remember what I signed up for. That's okay. We don't have that record either. So just pick what you want. Maybe you're coming as a couple. My husband and I have gone to every conference, and initially we stuck close together because we were so newly bereaved. But then as the time went on and future conferences came, what we've started doing now is we feel like we're getting even more of our money's worth for attending the conference, because we'll go through our book and we highlight what we like, what we think we're interested in, and there will be 5 or 6 offerings in one time period. So you're trying to decide, okay, do I want to go to this one or do I want to go to that one? And so what we started doing is we separate. Some of them we attend together, but he'll pick his favorites, I pick my favorites. We meet back together, and then we talk about, what we heard. Also, once you've gone through and you've highlighted what you want to attend, and you go in and you sit down in that workshop, and you're like, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. Get up and leave. Go find another workshop. And we try to explain that to everyone. No one feels badly. Your presenter will not feel badly. If you get up and leave, we've all been in your shoes and we understand, okay, they're going somewhere else. And find, what fits with you. This is your time. So when you go through the schedule, you have a general schedule, and then you have a breakdown. Through the day, there'll be workshops. Of an evening, there's something a little different. It's called sharing sessions. And the sharing sessions are not as structured as the workshops are. Kathy, would you like to explain a little bit about what's the difference between a workshop and a sharing session?
Well, the workshops are, I don't want to say they're a lecture. They're not a lecture, but the workshop presenter is sharing information with you of their experience, something that they have maybe some expertise in. The majority of the people who are workshop presenters are also bereaved parents, siblings, grandparents, and so they're there to help you. Maybe they'll use some of their techniques that they've used since their loss. It could be their experience with ways that help them to cope, to heal, to find hope again. And they're very informational, and we have so many different varieties of them that there's so much to choose from. Actually, in a sharing session, if any of you have been to a meeting before, that's very much being in a circle, possibly in a circle, and sharing your experiences with each other. That's where you get an opportunity to talk about your child, sibling, or grandchild. You get an opportunity to share what's on your mind. And you have a facilitator that also is generally, they're all bereaved. And so they help move things along. And so that's your time to really have to share. A lot of times your workshops, you will have a chance to share, but they're not strictly for sharing. A lot of times the last 10, 15 minutes of the workshop are set aside for question and answer. And if there, maybe there'll be some open time to share too, but this sharing session is strictly for sharing.
Okay, thanks, Kathy. And Terry, I'm going to call on you because Kathy had mentioned, and then she corrected what she said, that the workshops are lectures. And, so what do you do, Terry? You go in a room and they're each and every one set up all pairs in a row and you just sit and listen to someone? Are there different types of workshops?
There are different types of workshops, and they're broken down sometimes by the cause of death, or for men only or women only. We have certain workshops for our siblings and our grandparents. It could be now childless. So they're really geared towards covering all the losses that we possibly can. And as Kathy said, there's different techniques and ways to offer hope and to help you in your grief journey. And there usually is a question and answer time, and that's a good time to be able to learn something and hear somebody else's questions as well. Some of our workshops are structured for our chapter leadership and our moderators or leadership roles within the organization, which will be different from the workshops that our families do attend.
Okay, thanks, Terry. So
can I just throw in one more thing, Debbie?
yes,
I want people to feel comfortable with the fact that you don't have to share if you don't want to.
oh, absolutely not.
Right. And so when we say sharing session, you're more than welcome to come and just listen too. I mean, this is, like Debbie, you said, this is your weekend. And you make it what you need for yourself. And so just want to make sure, don't feel shy, like, oh, well, I don't want to talk. You don't have to talk.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I want to go over a few things. You know, it may sound already like, oh my goodness, there's workshops all day, and then I go here and I go there, and there's sharing sessions. Sometimes, especially if it's your first conference, you may need to just step away for some, I don't want any more information. I just want to relax. I want to reflect. And so the conference has you covered there. If you want to just have a moment with your thoughts, we have what's called a reflection room. And generally, even if you just want to stop by and visit that room, it's a very refreshing, quiet, peaceful room to go to. It's decorated appropriately. There will be soft chairs in there for you to sit in. Oftentimes they have something that you can write your child's name, your grandchild, or your sibling. And maybe, you know, you're getting tense in the neck, or, you know, I can feel it coming on. We have what's called a healing haven. That's kind of away from the rest of the conference, and go check that out early. That's a little tidbit there. You can sign up for sessions of, maybe there's Reiki, massage, all different kinds of personal services that are free. So as you can imagine, sometimes those schedules get kind of filled up. Now, as an insider tip, you know, we all have good intentions and we sign up for things and maybe you don't go back. So what I've learned through the years, I don't often get to go there and sign up. But what I'll do is I'll go at the full hour or half hour. And if someone hasn't shown up within like a few minutes, they'll go ahead and take a walk-in their place, knowing that that person may have run into someone they know, or maybe they're in a conversation with someone they didn't want to leave. So sometimes you can get into those as well. This hotel is spread out over 2 blocks, but you never, ever have to go outside. So you don't have to worry about that heat. Like today in Houston, I live in the Houston area, and we have 100-degree weather. I wouldn't want to be out walking in that. But you don't have to at the conference either. We will have signs, but just if you want to try to remember, you're always going to go to Concourse C level. And then that's going to take you below the lobby level. And the first thing that you'll come to from your guest rooms, if you're staying at the hotel, is something we call the gathering place. Every morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., 9 a.m. because that's when a lot of the workshops and things start, 7 to 9, you can go there for to purchase a cup of coffee, to get a light breakfast sandwich. You know, it's not ham and eggs, but a light breakfast. And we also have, you know, maybe you're on your way back from the conference. We have a charging station there that's secure for your phone. Now, why that's important, if you wanted to lock up your phone, you select the code, you plug it in, let it charge, is because just off of the gathering place, we have a couple of other really special things for you. One is called the Butterfly Boutique. I don't know about the rest of you, but I found early on in my grief, butterflies meant something special to me. It was a symbol of a transformation. And so many of our conference attendees like butterfly-related items. So that's why we call it the Butterfly Boutique, but there's much more than just butterfly items in there. And our Nashville chapter, Barbara and Roy Davies are sponsoring that, and they have quite the experience planned for you. It's very much going to be like a boutique. And then also just off of the gathering place is what we call the TCF Marketplace. And we have some outside vendors that have come in and set up tables of things that you might be interested in. There will be several tables of books. Maybe you want to browse some books on grief and healing. You can browse those, and many other things like aromatherapy. There'll be some jewelry in there. There'll be some very unique, we have Joanne Fink coming, who does like calligraphy and some personalized items for you. So lots of fun to look through those things. Also sharing that room is what we call our silent auction and raffle. I tell you what, I've gone crazy a couple of times, a couple of conferences there. So a silent auction, I'm sure you're all familiar, but just to refresh, there's a sheet laid out in front of the item, and people write down their name and what they'd like to bid. And then you go back and you check, and been outbid. So you bid $5 more or whatever. All kinds of interesting things from personal items to trips, a cabin in North Carolina. So check those out as well. And then in the gathering place itself, if you're like my husband, he'll walk around once and look at those things and he's done. I have to study them. I have to look and read, and then I absorb that and I go back and I look again. So in the gathering place are comfortable chairs. It's a wonderful place to meet other family members. They'll have some puzzles. They'll have a message board so that maybe something was found, or maybe someone's trying to get a message to someone from a Kansas City chapter, and maybe they'll post that on the message board. So it's someplace that you'll walk by if you're staying at the hotel at least twice a day, going and coming, and we hope that you visit it even more frequently. So what are some of your favorite things? Terry, I'm going to call on you first. Things have been added through the years, like John Mitchell has something he really likes doing. What are some of the favorite things you think of that they might like to know about?
One of the things that comes to mind is we have a hugging station, and it's manned by volunteers with our organization. And sometimes you just need a hug. And there's always somebody there to give you a hug and give you a little sticker or something like that. And I think that's pretty special. I do think that our silent auction is a pretty awesome adventure. Last year, they had you could bid on going to the People's Choice Awards, the music festivals. I mean, it's just unbelievable, some of the items that she comes up with. And I think that one of the most important items that we offer is to come to that orientation on Friday morning, because there you're going to meet other moms and dads and brothers and sisters and grandparents, and we're just there to support you and to make it easy to navigate through the weekend, and different ways to take good care of yourself, because we're so happy that you found us, and we're going to do everything we can do to wrap you in our arms with a hug and help you along through the weekend.
Great. How about you, Kathy? What are some favorites? I mean, I like to see everybody's children. Is there anything that we can see other children?
Well, that's one thing I think is really special. We have memory boards that are up these will actually be up in the, oh my gosh, majestic foyer. I believe that's what it's called.
Yes.
And we're going to have 25 picture boards that people who come to the conference can bring 8x10 picture of their child. Some of them actually bring children's pictures from their own chapters. And they put them up there, and a lot of times they'll put a little thing underneath it that says a little bit about them. And it's just something about spending time walking around there and looking at their faces and those smiles, and it just melts my heart. Because yes, that they're gone, but they lived. And it's so nice to see them, smiling. And it's the parents will a lot of times just stand around by their, so that they can actually say a little bit about them. That's the one thing, the beauty of the conference too, is that no one turns away. If you have tears, if you're smiling, they want to know. They want to know about your child. You might just meet a stranger on the elevator, and they'll see your picture button, which Debbie will probably say something about too, and they'll just say, what was his name? Tell me a little bit about him. Or they'll see the tears, and you'll get a hand on the shoulder, or you'll get a hug, as Terry said. It feels like a cocoon of comfort and of friendship and people who really understand. And I think that, to me, that's one of the most important things about the conference that it is. Outside of that, we also have the Crafty Corner, which is relatively new for the last few years. And it's Kathy Rambo and Gail Lafferty have done this for years. They used to do a workshop that was on making different things, bears and quilts and that sort of thing. And now we actually have what is going to be a beautiful spot this year, all windows and lots of light. And they have all kinds of sort of make and take things you can do. But I think probably even the best part about that is the fact that that's where you get a chance to sit down and chit chat with other people who are also working on things. And guys, don't stay away. There's a lot of men that do come and they enjoy it. There's something therapeutic about actually making things. And, and most of them have to do with your child, sibling, or grandchild, some memento sort of thing. And I think that's a really big, huge part of it. But the whole conference in and of itself is just all about, to me, we've worked around comfort. Comfort is so important. I mean, you can come here and you just feel like you're among people who get it. And I think that's so important too.
Yeah, and I love that you mentioned comfort. So another little tidbit, don't worry about dressing up. Go to these workshops, these sharing sessions, and be comfortable. You can wear your blue jeans. You can wear your shorts. Be comfortable. Dress how you would feel most comfortable. Now, I will tell you that on the Saturday evening dinner, if you're going there, people typically dress up for that. Not long dresses and suits, but, maybe a tuck-in shirt or a dress or, pants but again, it's not, you don't have to. I'm just telling you this so that you don't go there and say, well, I wish somebody would have told me. So just expect that you'll see people dressed up. The Saturday evening dinner is a very moving experience because we'll have music, we'll have a keynote speaker, but then we hold our candles. We light our candles in honor of our children. And so, it's a very touching moment. Now, if you haven't bought a ticket to the dinner, that's okay. We have chairs that will be set up around the perimeter of the room because we don't want anyone to miss out on this. It's the same way as the lunch on Friday. If you didn't buy a ticket for the lunch, it's okay. Come in and enjoy the speakers and the music and the announcements. So you're never excluded from anything. We're very inclusive. Kathy had mentioned the picture buttons. Also on the same floor that you find those memory boards, at the very back will be a few tables set up where if you bring along a picture, they will use that picture to make a button for you. Now, why that's important is we all like to see each other's children, and we like to see their faces. If you've had a miscarriage or you don't have a picture of your loved one, that's okay too, because we do little footprints so that people know that, oh, you don't have a picture. Tell me about your loss. And people still talk to you. So don't feel like I've got to have a picture. And if you're not comfortable doing that, that's okay. You don't have to. It's just a lot of us do that. And that's another item that's offered for free to you. We recommend no more than 1 or 2 buttons per person, but it's offered free. We don't charge for that. So that's part of your registration. And then, so we've kind of walked you through Friday and Saturday, and then Sunday. Now, Sunday is very special because we have our annual Walk to Remember. And if you didn't sign up for that already, you certainly still can. We have on-site registration. You can't do it ahead of time now, but you can register once you're at the conference for the walk. The reason we can't do it for the lunches and the dinners is because we have to get the estimated number of people for those meals in order for preparations to be made by the hotel. But, you know, you can still register for the walk. We try to order extra shirts, knowing that we'll have some walk-up people, but know that, you know, if you wait till the very end, or you may not get your size, or maybe we run out, I'm not sure. Most of the time, everyone gets a shirt, though. And the shirts will, they're very nice. It's very nice when we do this walk because it's all of us going down the street, all of us in the same shirt. And if you have registered, another thing that a lot of people like to do is they will go to a craft store and buy those iron-on pictures you can do on t-shirts. And so they prepare those ahead of time. They print them at home. And then when they get to the conference and they get their walk shirt, they iron on the picture of their child on their walk shirt. So that's an idea. You know, maybe not this year, maybe another year. Our walk this year is going to be really nice, where we walk up, we get to a plaza, you'll be able to see the arch, you'll be able to take a few minutes there and, you know, enjoy the company of others. Now, I hope the way we've described this, that you don't think, oh my gosh, I'm coming and I'm just going to cry all weekend. What you're going to be amazed with is that many people, you're going to hear some laughter. You're going to see people that are like, they're seeing their long lost friends, because you're going to meet people for the first time, and you're going to remember them every year. When my husband Mark and I went to our first conference, you know, again, we were only a few months out of losing Tony, and there was another couple that was relatively new as we were. And at that time, we lived in Savannah, and they lived in Atlanta, in the Atlanta area. Well, I'm sure you've all experienced grief brain, where you're like, I can't remember like I used to. And for the life of us, we couldn't remember each other's names, but we'd see each other passing in the hall, and we'd raise our hand and say, hi, Atlanta. And they'd wave back and say, hi, Savannah. And still to this day now, 6 years later, we still call each other Atlanta and Savannah. So that's the kind of friends, passionate friends, that you make every year at the conference. So I want to demo the app. We've gone about 30 minutes talking, but before we do that, if you raise your hand, and at the bottom of your screen, you should see where you can raise your hand. There's also a Q&A box. You could type in questions. Feel free, you know, if we've covered something or you have a question about something, raise your hand. You can, and we'll take you off of mute, or type in your question into the Q&A box. And again, you find those at the bottom of the screen. So Kathy and Terry, before we switch over to taking a look at the app, is there anything else you would like to add that you think someone going to a conference for the first time, they really should know this ahead of time?
I always think about when I get into a hotel, I'm always freezing cold. So I always bring a wrap or a hooded sweatshirt or something like that. And then I wear comfy sneakers because I know I'm going to be walking around. So, you know, that's always important to me. and don't feel like we're going to rush you through this whole weekend, because you really take the time that you need. When you need a few minutes, just do it. And if you need to go back and lie down in your room, then that's okay too, because we're there for you the whole weekend, and we want this to be a good experience for you.
Absolutely. Kathy, how about you? Any other tidbits?
I think we really covered a lot. But I guess I would say, and I just want to reiterate it, is that, please remember that this weekend is for you. Don't feel pressured that you have to go to every single workshop, every single session. Like Terry said, that was one of the things I was going to say, is if you feel you need to step back from people in general, you can go to the reflection room. That's a quiet room. The gathering place, people get to talk. Reflection room is for quiet. Yeah. And so you can go there. You could go back to your room, take a nap. This is really, this is your weekend, and please make it the most possible good experience, what you need for this weekend, that you can. And don't try and do everything.
Yeah.
And take some time to, browse some places, go just even window shop at the TCF Marketplace and the auction and the raffle. And there's some amazing things to do. So it's not just all hustle to a workshop and hustle there. Take it, be calm, make this a gentle weekend.
And I'm glad that you said that. Don't feel that you have to hustle from place to place. Mark, my husband, and I were talking this morning, what are some things that we want to be sure we talk about? And he had said, one of his favorite parts, at least initially, was just sitting in the hallway and watching people as they pass. And I think that has to do with us building our new normal, looking at people and thinking, okay, they look okay. They're walking and talking and they're kind of laughing. And then you see someone else and you think, oh, they must feel about like I do. So that was important to him, was just to sit and watch people. We do have a few questions that I want to just address before we go to the app. And the first one, Sherry asked, can we get written handouts for classes we don't attend, for example, sibling loss? That's a great question, Sherry. If it had been last year we had this, we'd say, I'm sorry, you wouldn't. However, this year with the app, our workshop presenters can upload, they'll send them to us, and we upload them into the app. So you will have access to all of the handouts from all of the workshops where presenters have given us something to upload. So I think that's great news that, because you sit there, you're thinking, and you're like, I don't know. And, you go back, it's nice to look at those things later.
Can I add something to that, Debbie?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to say, for those of you who aren't tech savvy, that maybe you don't have a smartphone, we also have options for that. A lot of times what the workshop presenter will do, will put out a slip of paper that you can sign and put your email address, and they'll send them to you, and you'll get them when you get home. Another thing, too, is we sometimes ask our workshop presenters if they have leftover handouts to put them in the gathering room. And, you can pick them up there, too. So we have all kinds of options for that.
Yeah, that's a good point. One thing we are trying to move away from, because our workshop presenters are volunteers. And so with their handouts, they copy those at their own expense. And I can tell you from being a workshop presenter, it gets to be very expensive. So we are trying to provide some alternatives, like, if you don't, maybe your phone battery's dead even, maybe you had the app but the phone battery's dead, that you can, get it later, or you don't have a smartphone, you can sign up and give an email. And we're having a meeting with the workshop presenters so they're aware of that as well.
Good.
All right. And then we have Madeline asked, if we are interested in the picture buttons, is there a specific size or format the pictures we bring need to fit? That's a really good question. You know, wallets aren't the best because basically what it is it's a 3-inch round circle. So if you just imagine a 3-inch round circle around the picture that you have, that's kind of what you're going to get. Also, the picture that you bring, if you really just want maybe the picture of your child, grandchild, brother or sister, but there's a whole bunch of people in the background, nothing we can do about that. Now, they will have copiers there that they can copy your picture and resize it a little, but it's not like going to a professional Photoshop. Again, these are volunteers, and so a 4x6 size print usually works pretty well. And again, as you're looking through your pictures, maybe you want to make a copy of a picture before you go to the conference so you don't take your original. Just imagine that 3-inch diameter circle going around the part of the picture that you want. And really any, even if they're on paper, again, the quality of the print is what's going to show in your button.
Debbie, we have a FedEx downstairs that's going to give a special deal for anybody from Compassionate Friends Conference that they're going to give a 30% off per copy. So if for some reason you don't have any of those things, there is that option too.
Yes, thank you, Kathy, for mentioning that. So we're trying to think of everything to help.
We're trying.
And also, before I get to the next question, I did want to mention, and I forgot, that in the area, because we're in a downtown location, you have access to a lot of things. There is a full-service grocery store a couple of blocks away. So if you want to go pick yourself up some water and not, just a little hint here, and not pay the price for hotel water, and you're flying in, you can't carry it on the plane, go to that grocery store. We have Saturday, it's lunch on your own. Friday dinner is dinner on your own. There are lots of eating places within a block or two. And maybe you totally want to forget about things. There's a movie theater just a block away as well. Okay, and another question we have right now, have any courses been canceled, or can we count on the original offerings being available? Great question. Sometimes that does happen where our workshop presents or cancels. We do everything within our power to get a replacement. And I'll give you an example. We had a workshop presenter had a death in their family, and it was on a topic that's very important to a lot of different people. So what we did is we got another presenter. Now, it may not be the exact same material, the original presenter, but we're going to try to get that workshop filled for you. So to my knowledge, I know we had one this morning that said they weren't going to be able to come, but we also oftentimes have co-instructors. So maybe you won't have 2 workshop presenters, maybe you'll have 1. So we do everything within our power. It's a perfect segue now then to go into the app, because as there are changes, we can update the app. So it's a little different than, you've got your book and what's printed in there is what it is. With the app, you'll get real-time updates on that. So I'm going to share my phone and I want to demo the actual app that we have. And it'll take me just a moment. It's coming up now. So Terry and Kathy, can you see?
Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So this is what the app looks like. And when you go to the Google Store, if you have an Android platform, or if you go to the App Store, if you have an iOS device, what you want to search for is Compassionate Friends Conference, or TCF National Conference. If you just search the Compassionate Friends, I can tell you that the Australian Compassionate Friends has an app out there. You don't want that one. You want the one that shows the cardinal in the upper left-hand corner, and it says 41st National Conference. We tried to make this easy to navigate. So you can see there are 9 buttons on the front of the app. So if I wanted to look at the schedule, I simply hit the schedule button, and then I have a lot of different things come up, like conference check-in and, conference check-in and on-site registration. I can see from the app before I even get there that it's open from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. So I already know when that is. Now, you'll notice just above where it says conference check-in and on-site registration, it says Thursday 26th. So that's July 26th. If I just tap that, it'll go to Friday, and I can go to my Friday offerings. And then I can scroll all through these. Maybe I want to look at workshop session 1. That's 10:45 to 12. Okay, I think I'll go to something. I wonder what's offered. So you just tap that, and we're not completely finished with it. It tells you what's offered. So if you go to workshops, which is right below schedule, there you'll see again all of the workshops listed. So starting on Friday at 10:45, when caregiving comes to an end for a special needs child. So if I click on that, and this is a better demonstration than the other one I just gave you, it tells me the time, and then it gives me a description of what they're going to talk about, which allows me to figure out, okay, do I want to go to that or not? Maybe I do. All I have to do is there in the upper center of the screen, I just hit Save Session. So now I know I have that saved. You see there's a back arrow at the top. I can go back again, and then you can see at the top, below the back arrow, it shows sort by time, then it shows sort by track, and then it says view my agenda. So if I click view my agenda, I've already picked what I want to go to, and you can see from the one that I saved, it's already there. I can see that John Ashley is the one doing that workshop. So I can go to his workshop. Now, back to the home screen. Remember, we told you the difference between workshops and sharing sessions. In the sharing sessions, it's going to tell you very similarly to the workshops, when they're offered and what the titles are. And if you want to find more information, you can click on them. And TCF SIBs, maybe you want to know what's going on with siblings. And again, it lists everything there, and it gives you Friday and Saturday. It's very easy to use. Social media feed. I think this will be fun for all of us. So if I click on the bottom left button for social media feed, what comes up is, and it takes a little bit to load, is the Compassionate Friends USA feed. So you can see what was on that page. This was a picture we put up yesterday showing, oh, there's not many days left until the conference. And so you notice at the top it says all, it says internal, it says social, and it says alert. Maybe I want to say this app, spell check, it gets me in trouble, is awesome. And then what I can do is I can publish the post. I would just hit that publish. I can click internal and publish there. Social, again, it's linked to our Facebook. And then someone can send you an individual message, or maybe we will send out a message like, maybe we would send out, don't forget, the opening session starts at 9 a.m. in the Majestic Ballroom. And we push that alert out to you. Or we may say, the silent auction is closing in 2 hours. If you haven't checked your bids, be sure to go by. Mm-hmm. And then you'll notice at the very top, there's like a little bell for your notifications, and then there's an orange square. You may not be able to see what it shows, but if I click on that, it will tell me if I've gotten any, and it has 0. So it tells me I don't have any alerts. Nobody sent me a message. Let's say you're in a sharing session, or maybe you've met someone and you want to save their information, or someone gave you a great idea. You can go to next to the notifications it looks like a little square scratch pad with a pencil. And you can make notes. You click on that, and I'm not clicking very well. There you go. And you can add a title and type in whatever you would like, and make yourself a note. Back at the home screen, we've got some maps. Those are the hotel maps. So it won't pinpoint you like a GPS, but if you get confused and it says, it says it's on the concourse level, and I'm not sure. It's loading. And anyway, that map would open up larger that you can see it. Mm. Just like any app, on the upper left, there are 3 dashes. That's a further menu. So if I clicked on that menu, you'll notice now to the left, I can get to these things and some additional items other than those 9 buttons. So for the person that asked, can we get handouts from the other sessions? You can go to handouts. You'll see it listed more than halfway down. We don't have any loaded yet, but I'll just give you an idea. And then there will be different folders that are loaded. And in the folders, this was our test folder, it will have by workshop, like we'll have workshop 1, and then we'll have all those workshops loaded there, all of those handouts, workshop 2. So that's how you get to those. And then we have general information, and that's what you generally find at the beginning of your conference book. Just telling you about check-in and registration, where the sibling registration area is. At the conference, everyone wears name badges, and they go around your neck with a lanyard, and we do that for security so that we know, we want to protect you and your privacy, and we want to make sure that only the people that are supposed to be in our conference area are. And then we mentioned to you orientation for first-time attendees. Again, this is where you can get some tidbits. So maybe your friend couldn't attend this webinar, but you can say, hey, they're doing something at the conference, and it's Friday morning at 8 a.m. in the Majestic Ballroom. We have a separate orientation for siblings. And then it talks about the difference between sharing sessions and workshops. And then the last thing I want to introduce here are meet and greets. The meet and greets are just like they sound. They start on Thursday evening. It's kind of a pre-kickoff to the conference. So you'll find in the meet and greets, they're organized like there's a meet and greet for men only. There's a meet and greet for Facebook. Maybe you learned about Compassionate Friends through Facebook, and you want to meet some of these people you've been chatting with. There's a Facebook meet and greet for that. And there's a Facebook, a meet and greet for grandparents only. Hey, I want to meet the other grandparents that are here. You can go there. So I like the app, and then you'll also be able to evaluate the workshop presenters, which is very important to us. So when you go in, you attend a workshop, your monitor and your workshop presenter will remind you at the end, please get your phones out, go in, and let's do the evaluation. And it will only take you a few minutes. I don't know if I can find one. Again, not everything is loaded. Let me see if, let me just pick one and see. Let's see. So at the bottom where it says support material, there is the workshop survey. So you go there and you type in who the presenter's name is. Last name is fine. And of course I can't, I'm trying to hold that and get it to go. Anyway, there's a number of questions that are just, agree, disagree, strongly agree, that type, and an opportunity for you to also write some additional comments in the box. And if you have the time to do that, even if it's not right after the workshop, maybe it's of an evening when you're, got your feet kicked up and you're relaxing, please try to do the evaluations. It helps us in a couple of ways. The workshop presenters will be given their workshop evaluations. And also, we get them. And so the workshop presenter can get some feedback, good and constructive. Maybe, they spoke too softly, or they kept saying, or whatever it might be that you want to let them know. Put that in a comment. If the workshop presenter was on target, this was the best workshop ever, we need to know that because this time, next year we'll be, prior to this, early in the year next year, we'll be selecting our workshop presenters for our conference in Philadelphia. And part of the selection process is looking at how they were rated by people that attended their workshops. We want to be sure that we get the best for you. So looks like we may have another Q&A. Let's take a look. Can we get email addresses of presenters to later access handouts for courses we can't make or conflict with others? So what you could do is, we don't hand out the presenter emails, but you could send them a message if you have the app and say, I wanted to attend your workshop. I noticed there were no handouts uploaded. Would you please email me them to my email address at? And you could contact them that way. The other thing is you could contact us, but I'm not sure how responsive we could be. I'm just trying to be realistic. Again, there's only 6 employees that support the entire nation. We will do whatever we can to help you with that. But that would be one way to do it. Message through the app, or if you didn't attend the workshop, if you're there, you can give them your email address. Let's see, any other questions? And I'll unshare now, and we'll go back, and Terry and Kathy, anything that you would like to add? We've got, just a couple more minutes.
I just wanted to say that you had mentioned they could buy a cup of coffee and get a breakfast sandwich in the gathering place. And that's a good way to start your morning. They also have a little store, and you can get a sandwich or a salad or something like that right at the hotel. And there's also a Starbucks. So you don't have to go very far to get some good food.
Yes, absolutely. And we offered the coffee and breakfast because what we found at the conference is, guess what? That Starbucks line gets pretty long. So we wanted to give all of our compassionate friends a special place that other people didn't have access to. Kathy, did you want to add anything?
I just wanted to say that we all remember what it's like to come to a conference for the very first time. And as Debbie said, first of all, it can take your breath away. For two things, you think, oh my gosh, all these people, they're going through the same thing, and what to expect. And I think this has probably been very helpful. We hope it has been for you to get a little idea of it. But I just want to commend all of you for taking that step to come and do this, and give it your best shot. And I cannot imagine, and I know I've never heard of anybody said, I wish I wouldn't have gone. It's always the opposite. It's always, I am so glad I can come, and I'm already preparing to come next year too. So thank you for taking that chance, and we're just really, really looking forward to seeing you in St. Louis.
And you'll see us running around, so don't hesitate. We have to do.
We'll be the ones going,
Okay. Well, thank you, everyone, for joining. Email Debbie at compassionatefriends.org, Terry, Terry, at compassionatefriends.org, and Kathy, Cathy, at compassionatefriends.org. We welcome your questions, and we'll try to get your answers to you. Thank you so much for joining, and I cannot wait to see you at the conference.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.